Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for gathering for this session despite your busy schedules. My name is Omata, and I would like to present to you about Google AJAX APIs. So I'd like to first start off with this slide. This is our mission statement, which I believe you have seen many a times. So this is Google's statement, and it reads as the following. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. I'm sure you've heard these words many times. But in a nutshell, we will be offering you information, and developers like you and users hopefully will make use of this information, and creating that environment is our mission. And this mission also underlies and has close ties with the AJAX APIs that I will be explaining throughout my presentation. Now, these are some topics that I will be covering throughout this session. First, as the title implies, Google APIs. And as you know, we have many APIs that we have to offer, and obviously some of them curtail AJAX features. So what is an AJAX API in terms of the Google environment? And we also have many sites that offer these codes as well. And AJAX API, if you follow the link, there are basically 3 categories. And I will be focusing on these 3, which is the AJAX Search API, and the AJAX Feed API, and Map API, which also utilizes AJAX. So basically, it is separated into 3 categories, and for this session, I will be focusing on the first 2, in other words, AJAX Search and AJAX Feed API. As for the Map APIs, this is explained in Geo. In other words, as I've listed here, developing with Geo, and a track that has put the Geo features together will cover Google Maps API. But for the Tokyo Developer Day, I believe that the Maps session has ended already. So for those of you who have not attended this session, but there will be a video upload later on of the specific sessions, and a downloadable PDF file will be supplied as well. So we do hope that if you show interest in Geo and Maps API, please refer to this to our site at a later date. So the Search API and the AJAX Feed API, this will be the focus of my presentation, and you can see the various results, map information, video, and other services that we offer, and APIs that accompany these services to create a more simple environment. Now, for the session goal, the Search and the Feed API, what are they? I would like to first give context to these 2, so I will just give a brief introductory on these 2 categories of APIs. And then this will be followed by how these APIs can fulfill simply your needs, and so I will focus on the simplicity of these various APIs. This will be further followed by the various building blocks always related to APIs. So the building blocks or the correlation is something that will be covered. And again, as an API, the AJAX APIs are also layer structured. It's a three-tiered layer structure, so this will be introduced as well to you towards the end of the session. And after I introduce to you this layered structure, the high-level components and controllers as well. Again, what are the capabilities? I will touch upon those as well. And all in all, throughout the session, I do hope that you will find the AJAX APIs closer to home. In other words, you may have heard of AJAX APIs, but perhaps you have not had the opportunity to fully leverage these APIs. So we do hope that for those of you who are here and for the developers throughout Japan, hopefully AJAX APIs or Google AJAX APIs could be put more into use, and we hope to promote the usage. Now, without further ado, I'd like to jump into the first part of my session. And what you see here is an extremely familiar page, we do hope. This is the Google homepage, and this is a result of a specific search. And by querying or searching in such a manner, and this is from a developer's perspective, you see the strings, and then based on that, not just one result, but multiple results are fed back. And since most of you attending are developers today, how do we actually handle and process this in a programming sense? I believe you get an idea of how it will be handled. And AJAX data entry, search result extraction, all of this is covered in this page, so to speak, behind the scenes. So if you could put that image in your mind as I speak. Now, aside from this, the Google web browser can be utilized as well, looking at pictures, images, video, and the existing features can be utilized as well. So if you could also make note of that as well as we go through the presentation. So now I've been verbally trying to explain, but I think seeing is believing. So I would like to just jump in and show you some live examples of how this is actually being used. So we'll start off with this page. This is an English site sample, typepad.com. So this is AJAX search, typepad.com, and at a glance, where is the search API used? You can note that on the left side, it's static HTML. Now it's quite obvious. So on the right side, this area is using the search API. And it's not just one, it's multiple blocks. And you can see there's the search box at the top. And you can note that there's results of the video search, and you can also see the map search results as well. So the search APIs are being used. A very common standard AJAX API, a search API, is being used. Now, you see here that we are utilizing the right sidebar, but this is not mandated. So at least for this example, if you look at the right sidebar, you see web search, And at a glance, you cannot really tell that it is web search. So let's say it might be web search, or it might be Google, it might be a customer search engine, blog search. So you may be using Google as a custom search engine as well. So all of these options are being processed in the background. So if you further move down to the next block, you see the video search. It may be either YouTube or Google video search. And further down, you search, you click, and when you click, you see text results, perhaps. That's one option. And you can enter, and based on the response, the next action takes place. So perhaps a list comes up, or perhaps a block of text come up. And per search or per line, or maybe not one line, it might be 3 lines, depending on the setting. Either way, the execution is arbitrary. And if you click, it may pop up a new window, or it may be embedded into the site itself.
So including these options in this sample, this is how the page is constructed. Or if in this page is allowing the video to be replayed. And also at the bottom, we have the map search. Although this session is not going to cover the detail of the map search, but I am sure that not just in Japan, but also in the world, there are many developers who are using Map API. So Ajax API, there are a lot of Map API users. And also, if you take a look at the samples, they are not just using Map Search or Map API, but they are also using Map APIs. So I think many of you may have the needs to use Ajax Map APIs. So as a sample, I am going to touch upon what this allows you to do. But this allows, of course, you can use the other APIs, which does not have Ajax. But what this Ajax Map API allows you to do is that this allows you to do the more enhanced coding, and also you can actually have the embedded map. And also sometimes you may want to customize. Of course, this allows you to do a certain level of the customization, but I think I am going to touch upon what is the parts which are not map, but maybe by touching upon those parts, maybe you can understand what makes it easier for you to use these APIs. And this is the Japanese sample, and this is the amateur baseball ground or stadium, or maybe the others. You actually show or display on the left-hand side pane where those ground or baseball ground is. Just looking at this slide or this screen, it looks quite easy. So I'd like to actually show the actual page, which you see this map.
こちらですね。右上にサーチボックス。
So on your right top, you have a search box, and this is where the Google Ajax API is used. And as a procedure or steps, the users enter the certain words, and then on the background, maybe on the client side or server side, they have the code which are associated with those entered value, and then they are going to do the search. And the results, regardless how results are expressed, but anyway, the results will be displayed. So in this example, there are many search, maybe the text string, or maybe the local map, or maybe the video search. In this case, it's a local search engine is running in the background. And let's say if we enter a certain word name like Setagaya, and then if I search using this search Setagaya, then I can only find one result. And then this is the result, and then the result is displayed or listed. And then the other word name like Adachi, then they have more than one. So as you see on the screen, the list is popped up. So this is a typical example of using AJAX. So not reloading the entire page, but on the dynamic basis, they only show the required or necessary parts. If you are going to develop on your own, you want to have a certain ideas as to what kind of actions you want to take, and of course it requires certain customization. But in many cases, maybe you may not just want to do the customization, or you may not want to too much details in the look and feel, but the typical actions, maybe enter certain words, and with that you just get the results and display. So it doesn't really require a lot of customization in terms of the look and feel. You just want to have that typical packaged product. So you just want to do the local search, or maybe you want to do the video search. So if that's the requirement, then you can show the default. And I think there are a lot of needs to just show the default. And also on the other hand, they really care about the look and feel, and they really have to want to have the elaborated design. So you just have to give the results to me. In this example, I just want to emphasize that there are several needs. Sometimes you just want to have the simple display, and the other case you want to really have elaborated display of the results. So next example shows not using the AJAX search API, but this is AJAX feed API. So this is the sample which is using AJAX feed API. So what is AJAX feed? The details come later, but just take a look. So on your left-hand side, it's a static HTML page. And on your right pane, you have image, not video in this case, but image. And underneath of this image, there's a blog roll, which is the typical style of the blog. So on a certain day, at certain time, we have a certain text, and chronologically, you have the new data inserted. And so this is something which can control the display, and this is typically used in blog, so that's why this is called as a blog roll. But of course, it's not just limited to blog, but recently CMS system. In case of enterprises, they are using this for news release, or on the product page, they use this for the new information on the product. So on a certain date, they actually distribute the certain information with a certain amount, and then that actually means that they just want to feed the appropriate contents at the appropriate timing. And the third is a tune bar control, and this is really a special control. As you see, the word tune, this is the specific control which is dealing with iTune information. So this is just one example using iTune, but without using iTune, if you use other feed API, of course you can build certain things for other purposes. But let's say if you use iTunes and you want to purchase from iTunes, or maybe you want to sell something through iTunes, then this is again just a packaged product. So you don't really have to build on your own, but by using this, you can show the top artist albums or new release with a certain UI. So this is just the demonstration of the search API and also feed API. But and I am going to elaborate on that. But before going into that, I just want to show you what kind of control is enabled with these APIs. So this busy pace is not something which is existing, but I just want to give you the certain image. So there's a map, there's an image, or there's a book introduction, and like iTunes, which I explained, that is also included on the page. So the point here is that user interface is really a separate issue. But features, in terms of the features, these are the features which are allowed or enabled by using APIs, which I explained. So now, maybe at a later stage, I am going to give you the details and then demonstrate the actual web page. But before going into that, I am going to use this text to explain.
So for the developers, rather than me talking, you always say that just show us the code and that will explain everything. And I'm sure that is what you want. But there are, so I would like to abide by that request, and I will use the always used Hello World example. Now, since we're speaking of codes, I would like to recap, or I should have mentioned in the beginning, this session. This session is not a hands-on session. It is more focused on what is Ajax API and what are the offerings of these APIs. So for the code itself, I won't go through the details of the explanation of the structure of the code itself. However, since if you're already developing, then you may want detailed tips, or you have other questions. And if we have the time, I would like to answer those in the Q&A session, or if we do not have the time to respond to such questions in the session, then since we do have a reception party during at night, you can ask me offline, as well as for pages that introduce APIs. We have a Google page, which is a discussion group. And also, you can speak to the Google official developers as well. So for those of you who want to probe into detail, we do hope that you take up this opportunity. So I'd like to go back to the Hello World and what is the search API, what are the codes. So we'll start from here. And at a glance, as you can see, it's JavaScript description. So the first line, var sc equals new gsearch control. So that's the first line. And obviously, gsearch control is the key to this code, which we offer. And this is the Google Ajax Search API object itself. So just looking at this line, you can tell that it's offering JavaScript library, and the developers, you just have to call up these libraries and you can utilize the library contents, and the rest pretty much follows your standard Google API. So researcher, it's a control pertaining to search. So your standard window-based applications, when you develop for the APIs, you need to think of components, and that is sort of the image that this will offer. In other words, the glocal search is a part or parts of what will allow the search to happen. So this is being fetched, and it's object-oriented. So again, the same as any other API, you have to create the object, and after the object, you have to set the attributes, and after you set the attributes, you trigger events, or you directly call up, and you execute the method. So after the new, you see 4 lines, but it's repetitive, as you can note. So this is the search control, the SC that we just set, and search, as you can note. And we're adding the search. So one is global search. That's one searcher object. Web search, that's another one. Video search, and then blog search. So we've just added 4, as you can see here. So you don't really have to look at the API reference. It's pretty much self-explanatory. So you set the search control, and then what you see, it's probably on a box. You just add the local search and your standard web search and your standard video search and your blog search. So these 4, you can tell, are presumed to be used in the set box. Now this is followed by the search controller. So the search control, which is an object at the moment. So you take this, and you have to be able to physically see it. So you need to write up code. So you draw, SC draw. So if you are programming UIs on a daily basis, this is again pretty much, it's pretty straightforward, I believe. So just 2 more that we have to set up. Below the brackets, gsearch.set onload callback. So the search control here, where will you use the search control? And this is pretty much rule of thumb. You have to register the callback routine, unless not, it will not trigger. So I will refer to this later, but that is the model. So it's a mandated rule for the time being. Now, up to here is JavaScript, and next you have the final HTML structure. So you've set up a controller, but what's the UI and where is it supposed to be? So again, this is your similar to your standard Ajax API. So div object name, and it's an ID. So we set this at equals search container. So this is the div tag that will be supplied. So this means that all the attributes that have been set for the search will be reflected. So this is a standard pattern. So in other words, it's basically a copy-paste process, which is very easy to set up this or utilize this search API. So now, just looking at the codes might be difficult to give you an overall image, so I would like to see you something actually in action. So I'd like to jump to the actual live web page to give you a feel for what this will look like. This is again your Hello World setup. You have your web page and you have settings for the API, and then immediately after that the Hello World code is copied, pasted in directly. And if you trigger this or show this on the web page, it will look something like this to give an image. So the G-Search control, which is the search object module that is set up, it's over 10 lines, but the essence of it is a few lines. I believe you can understand. And if you look at the left top, it's one controller. However, the key to this search API is the fact that it's only one line on surface, but behind the HTML components, you have web, blog, local, and Google technology. Other Google search technology is all lying in the background, and everything is waiting for you to use. So it's just one line. But behind all this, there's a concentration of technology, Google technology, prepared. So if you try to script, a search function, I'm sure you can, but without having to go through that cumbersome task, you can just use this free of charge, what we have to offer. So that is the appeal and the benefit, I believe. And because this is a genre, the search genre is something that we boast our strengths in, we believe that they're all the more why that you should find benefit in utilizing, leveraging this. Now, we received the results. Again, using some form of Google search technology. So now you have to go into consideration of how you want the interface to look like. So again, going back to the Hello World sample, we didn't have much anything because it was just one line div ID equal. It was just one line. Now, ultimately, what does it transform into is something like this that you see down below.
So as you see, there's a local search area and also web search and video search and blog search. And those are 4 attributes which are added to search control are utilized with this appearance. And if you don't really mind having this appearance, it's okay. But there are some others who want to control the appearance. Maybe you have to do the customization. But for the view, we only have one line. And if you want to customize, or if you want to fully tune the UI, or if you purchase it, I'm sure that you do. But maybe some of you may not want to go that extent. Then, if you're a developer, maybe you refer to a certain documentation and do this, it's okay. But including Ajax and also Flash site, if you want to do the mashup site, not all of you are full-time programmers. Maybe some of them are designers with a certain knowledge, but maybe you don't know full programming. You don't have full programming language, and also maybe you don't know, you know the object language, but you don't know too much about this. So using this, maybe you may find it really a bit difficult to use Flash. And if you want to do the customization, you don't have to write the source from the scratch, but there is a small icon called Setup. And in this case, it's a local search. So this is allowing you to do the address search, and then you can actually have if this is valid or not. For web search, there is no setting, but for video, you can set up only a few, but you can do a certain customization. The users can do the certain customization. And also, as to the search results, currently we have only one for local and one for web. But if you want to show more results, then you can have all, or you can have some, or you can have just one result. So users can set up these dynamically. I am going to touch upon this at later stage, but users can control dynamically the way how the results are displayed, but not the users, but the designers or developers. If you are coming to the design stage, you may want to change the appearance. But at that stage, you can do the full coding to tune up, and also you have easier way to do a certain extent of customization. And I am going to explain two methods to allow you to do a little bit of customization. So to your right, the English result, I think you can actually understand. So search string is entered, and behind the scene, maybe web or blog or map are used, and those are running behind the scene. And then currently it's default, but of course developers can tune up to change the appearance. And also the developers can allow the users to do the dynamic customization. So I'd like you to understand there are certain features which allow you to do different things. So now let me turn the gear to Feed API. So this is the second way to our Hello World. So I think maybe you may feel this is really similar to the previous one. So Feed, although I did not explain what Feed is, but this is the typical RSS feed. So the web service which provide the information in a certain format. There are a lot of those on the internet. And so this is the API which allows you to obtain those information or to process the information. And of course, you have to select or specify from where you get the information. So the first two lines are the ones where you get the information from. And then the third line, FC equals to new. And this is where Feed API starts. So feed control object is set up. So this is the equivalent to search module. So feed control is the major component which is dealing with the feed. So similarly, when the object is created, then you may have to add the attributes. In this case, we have a setup of certain attributes in display. And then after that, again, the same with the previous coding. You have to set up the callback. And then in case of logic module, this is the place where you set up the control. And then at the end, it's a view. So div ID is set up. So at this moment, based on what I described, I think you have the rough idea as to what this allows you to do. So this dig feed information is displayed. There are two feeds. So the first is dig, which is one block, and the next is TechCrunch. So underneath, we have another block, which is the place to show the feed from TechCrunch. And of course, you can control how these are displayed. But if you don't mind having this appearance, then you can just leave it as is. So So far, I think you get the image as to the how this works, and you also have seen the simple coding samples. So now let me go a little bit beyond. So what kind of building blocks are used, and what kind of structure the building block has in this Hello World case? So let me go from the bottom. The lowest level, this is a layer where it is called as raw data access layer. So as you see from this naming, you get the raw data, and this is dealing with those raw data, and then you create the object and you just call that object. And then on this layer, you find our data, your UI. This will come at later stage, but this is a message. So Google provides you the data, and you have to build how you want to display those data. So this is not just limited to Ajax, but this, of course, is associated with our mission statement. So data can be in text or HTML or XML, and usually you send it to FTP. So you develop the Ajax, and then you can process those data. But of course, Google also has UI. So again, if you don't mind using default, Google also offers UI. If you want to customize, like developers or designers, if you want to customize those UI, of course you can do it. So even though we say your UI, but minimum UI are provided by Google. And then the middle has basic UI layer. This is the core component, and there is a Google Search, Ajax API, G Search Control, and this is a core component in Search API, and Google Feeds Feed Control, which is a core component in Feed API, and this is a core component, and this is to call the other objects. So this is the factory where it's calling the other object, and also sometimes it's acting as proxy. So object-oriented, I'm not going to talk about the details of object-oriented, but yes, as long as you call this object, this object is going to get the data and then process the data for you.
So as the title implies, we use the search control, blog, map searches, etc. So for those that just need to be processed just by text, then one line each, or maybe 2 lines or 3 lines, that would suffice. But again, we're not just offering text search. So we have maps, we have video, and in other words, multimedia type data points are also subject to search. So it's difficult to show something attractive if you just take the text display approach. So the developers may choose to custom something on their own, but we are also willing to support that. So we are offering such printouts at a high level as well. So again, I'll show you some actual examples later on. So the very bottom layer, the raw data access layer, is shown on this slide. So again, the search results will be offered as information to a user. So how do you actually acquire these data points? In other words, at the lowest layer is described here. So I introduced to you the search and the feed load or the search execute. Use one or the other, and you just take the very basic 4 steps as I've shown here. You create the request URL, then you embed the script tag, script controls, data fields that need to be embedded, and then you complete the field load, and then the callback is called. So these are the basic 4 steps for either feed load or search execute. And just these very simple 4 steps will allow you to leverage the functionalities or the capabilities that Google Worldwide Servers has to offer. So again, you can do something on your own, but I would like to repeat that there are many strengths that we boast at Google in terms of search, and 2 of them can be covered here. One is search, so let's say it's text search. Data accumulation or very high-level computer processing technologies are being applied to this technology, so a very a sophisticated form of research results can be fed back. That's one. And another is the very high availability. Obviously, not just the Japanese language, but you are able to access to worldwide search. And with your own PC, you may be able to accommodate 10,000 users per day, but 1 million users per day would be something quite unthinkable. But now again, having said that, Google does have a very long history of high reliability and high availability servers that run 24/7 throughout the world. So you can leverage these capabilities as well. So just again, by using AJAX API, Google AJAX API, you get everything, all of this, at your fingertips. Now, results are fed back. So what are the results? One would be JSON, and the other would be XML. Now, for the search, it would be JSON. For the feed, it would be either JSON or XML, one or the other. So it depends on how you want to process the data, but just to let you know and recap the fact that there are 2 types of results. Now, JSON and XML for feed, you can use one or the other. So it's not exclusive of one or the other. Both can be used. So I have to take into consideration of the time schedule. So I explained about the raw data access, and this is a quick sample. It's because this is a core. And the feed and AJAX API, actually more than half of this is covered by this. And so this is a simple site. You can note that, or you can assume that it's a video replay site. And you have a search box to your left. And apparently if you click, then you can assume that a video will be played within the site. Now, if you wanted to create such a page, as I showed down below, if one programmer or one coder could do this, had 1 hour, then this is the extent of what can be done. But within that given hour, yes, the page can be established. You just write a few simple codes and you have the page. But to disclose this to the public, you have to make it appealing. So this coder, it turns out that for most of the 1 hour that was allocated to creating this page was spent on trying to customize the CSS for IE. So just the functionalities, just the bare basic functionalities were done in a few minutes. The remaining 50+ minutes was allocated to creating it. appealing. Now, this next example, although not in Japanese, this is another example. This is a site that shows symptoms of various diseases. So you go out to the sites, fetch the information necessary, and show on your site. So you may notice that it's a little different from the default setting. So you have the page, you have your text, and you have your blog controllers, and you have blocks of data points. So default UI would suffice, but you want to show more. So the UI needs to be customized. So again, the raw data access, again, the low-level functionalities can be utilized to create such a site. So for the user interface itself, customization can be done easily as well. Now, another similar example. To the right upper corner, you have your search and you have your results down below. But again, the result display is a bit different from the other examples that I've shown you already. Again, this is a custom UI. And again, the Google functions only are applied for the raw data access. So that's another example. Another raw data access sample. It might be easier if you actually just link to the site or access to the site, but apparently, again, you can assume that information will pop up after you click relevant buttons. But the three samples that I just showed you are all common in the sense that what Google offers is the raw data access API. Very simple. And as the raw data access name implies, it's just giving back raw data. It can be either XML or JSON, and the worldwide availability is something that you can tap into because these worldwide servers are at your service 24/7 throughout the world. So 24/7 servers are being utilized, and you have that infrastructure, so you can focus, let's say, more on the design, or you can focus more on the design components and how you will actually show your page. So if you want to focus more and more emphasis, if you want to put more emphasis on the design, it's possible to do that. And how you actually show the raw the data that is extracted as a result of the raw data APIs is up to you. Now, I showed you the very bottom layer of the raw data access. Now this is the middle layer.
This is an example of feed API. So since this is a feed API, so the basic control is feed, google.feeds.feed control. So this is used. So maybe just by looking at this one, maybe you can get the rough idea that this is really similar to Hello World example. So by calling this and then set it as new, then one of the attributes, we have to add feed, and then although this does not include this, but this we have to add callback, and then write the div code, HTML. So the one in the middle is always the same. And this one is a search API, and this is again really similar to Hello World, but the ones which are added is the local image are actually displayed vertically, but sometimes it may take too much lines, so you don't want to show it on the vertical basis. If you want to customize the way how this is displayed, you can always do the customization. The default is not just the vertical display, but basically we have the built-in, and one of them is tab. So web, blog, news, book, that's the engine which is used in the back end, but tab itself can be used and it does not require too much space. So this kind of UI is covered by the basic UI layer. And then the enhanced UI layer, what kind of features are included in this layer? And of course, there is a raw data access layer, and you have to get the data from the raw access data layer and then display it. And then in the middle, we have the core component or the basic object in the middle layer. And then on top of that, you have the enhancing UI layer, which allows you to really nicely display the information. And this is for the reference purpose. Maybe you can refer to this. And if we want to really build even more advanced UI than this, you can always build on your own. We offer the resources where we explain what kind of UIs can be used. And this is quite powerful. So in case of video, the results. Usually the search is conducted against the character string, and the way how this is displayed, sometimes it can kind of stack up in the vertical manner, and sometimes you want to just horizontally lay out them. So the logic or coding as to how you display those results are included in this enhanced UI layer codings. So there is an object, and then by setting up simple attributes, you can change look and feel or look part. And not just with video, but image. So maybe you want to vertically display 10 of them, or maybe two each. Let's say there's one image, and you may want to click, or maybe on a certain interval, you want to change the image. Or maybe slideshow. If you want to do the slideshow, then for the reference, there is a slideshow control. If you want to display the news, then how should it be displayed? Let's say, just like blog, you usually display on the vertical manner, but maybe the keyword entertainment and society and politics, those kinds of UIs are offered. And also for map, we offer the components which are appropriate for map search. So to the general media, certain UIs with certain features are already implemented by us. And other than these, let's say book bar and blog bar, with which you can easily search the books, and also video can be played within the page. And that's Google Ajax API features, and these are the structure. So again, these are some things, or these are things which are offered by ourselves at this moment. And I just want to introduce this, even though I am running out of time. So UI you can develop on your own, and also we offer certain UIs, and also you can let the end users to do the certain customization, but maybe not with these options, but at the developer side, you want to do the certain customization, but you don't want to have the full level coding. Then what should we do? And you usually use a certain UI, then you let the users to enter certain information and then go next. So the enhanced UI layer, the way how video should be played and the way how news is displayed, even though you don't have to do coding, but you can change a little bit. So in this case, this is a map. I'm sure that there are many ways to show maps. Sorry, because I did not touch upon the map in detail, so I am going to use video as an example. In case of video, what kind of keywords can be used for search? Let's say today's news can be the keyword, or joke can be used as a keyword. So then whenever that keyword is used, you always use the keyword to do the search on that particular day. And of course, this is possible, and this can be quite simple for the programmers, but this might be difficult for designers. Then you open this web page, and then you go to this home page, and then news or joke, you have to enter those words. And number 3, you select this number 3, which is generate code, and then joke is used as a keyword, and then they are going to get the data, and that's already offered. So you just have to do the cut and paste onto your web page, and this is quite efficient. So even designers can develop this using this wizard. So not just with the video, we have news, and also we have map wizard. So designers can use these wizards without doing any coding. So at the end, in the future, maps is still evolving. So maps Ajax or as Ajax. Maybe the sneak preview is going to be provided as Ajax APIs. Please refer to the blogs for details. And this is my last message. These Ajax Search API and Feed API, and also Map API, which was explained by different presenter, not just using text, but including UI. You can do just limited coding to do a lot of things. And I would like you to take that, and I hope that you are interested in this so that you can develop on your own. We offer features and data, and please offer service and UI on your own. I would like you to really use this APIs, and I hope you really enjoy and think this is helpful to you. Thank you very much.